The Jackery Explorer 3000 Pro is a lightweight and easy to maneuver power station. It's also using old battery chemistry and still costs the same amount as the newer, better HomePower 3000. So in 2025, should you still be buying the Explorer Pro? Or does this unit kind of circle us right back to the Jackery scam video that we made last year? So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. We have already done our due diligence, specifically with Jackery, in taking our time to tell you about how they have different battery chemistries still available for sale, and they don't necessarily advertise that they're selling you the old chemistries when they are. So we don't need to spend another video doing that. If you're able to look past that, the Explorer 3000 Pro is still a pretty competitive unit. And like we do with everything here at the lab, we made sure to put this thing through the ringer so that we can give you guys our honest opinions and feedback. If at any point in this video you've heard enough, we have some links in the description down below, as well as any coupon codes that we can squeeze out of Jackery. We also have information on this month's giveaway, so make sure you guys check that out. But before we jump into our opinions on the Explorer 3000 Pro, we're gonna hit you guys with a super quick spec teardown in case you're not already up to speed on this old but powerful Jackery. First up, this thing passes the tiny baby lift test. It only weighs 64 pounds. Honestly, it feels way lighter than that. It has a 3024 watt hour battery bank, which is not expandable, and it's not a Life PO4 battery, it's the older lithium ion. The inverter on this guy has a maximum output of 3000 watts. They claim it has a 6000 watt surge. In terms of getting power into this guy, you can plug it into a regular house outlet in your home and charge it at 1800 watts, or it has two 700 watt solar inputs. So you can get a total of 1400 watts of solar into this guy, which compared to the battery size isn't terrible. That's like a full charge in just over 2 hours. And when it comes to the ports and plugs on this guy, you have a 30 amp plug up top, which is a 25 amp plug. It's not a true 30 amp. You have 420 volt regular house outlets right here on the front, two USB-A's, two USB-C's, and then behind this, what is basically a bulletproof door, you have a 12 volt car socket. On the back, you have your AC house input as well as your two solar inputs, and that's pretty much it. It's a really simple, clean design. It looks like basically every other Jackery out there. This one is a Pro, so it does have your suitcase handle as well as your nice little spinny wheels. The screen on this, classic Jackery screen, looks great, shows you only what you need to know, and the app is pretty good. It lets you control the unit from afar, change some settings that you can't change directly from the unit, and the price on this guy right now is $2,499, but with our discount code, you can get it down and around $2,100, which is not terrible. We've seen it even a little bit cheaper, so just keep your eye on it. Jackery is one of those companies that wakes up every day and sets a new price. The first thing that we like about the Explorer 3000 Pro is honestly the way it performed. It performed really well in all of our testing. It's able to run that 3000 watts all day. It was actually able to run just over 3000 watts with no problem. It didn't really seem to care. And it would surge to about 4500 watts, anything bigger than that, and it didn't really like it too much, but overall, not bad. The idle consumption is somehow insanely low on this guy. It's like 7 watts per hour it uses just idling. Meaning if you had something like a sump pump hooked up to here where it runs every once in a while the sump pump isn't running, it's not going to use a whole lot of power with that AC inverter on, which is a lot more than a lot of other power stations can say. Some of them are upwards of 80 watts per hour being used just idling. It's also about 80% efficient, which is nice to see. You're not losing a ton of power even when you're running this thing at full tilt. And overall, everything else just worked fine. The solar input's good, the UPS is good. Nothing stood out about this unit negatively, really, I would say. All the testing was good. Well, that's kind of not true. I guess that this isn't a 30 amp plug. That kind of stood out a little bit. And yes, you can use the 30 amp as well as the regular house plugs at the exact same time. This one blocks the one underneath it when you have something plugged in, but you're able to use, as long as you don't go over your 3000 watts, both of these plugs at the same time. We also just like the build. Overall, it's great. Like we said earlier, it's a regular Jackery, but the wheels and the suitcase handle are actually solid and very nice. It's not some flimsy junk that you see in some of these other units. And it's honestly really lightweight, especially considering the size. That's due to the fact that it's old battery chemistry, but still nice to have a light power station if you're taking it RVing, camping, that kind of stuff. Something to note is that health and safety can't get his big boy knuckles into the handles right here. Personally, I have no problems, but that's because I have small hands. and a small. It's also really quiet, which is really nice because this is geared for like campers, RVs, someone who's going to be using it and probably within a close proximity to it. So the fact that it doesn't make a ton of noise, even when it's running at honestly a pretty big load, is cool because you don't have to listen to it. The worst thing about some of these power stations is just listening to them hum right beside you while you're trying to sleep. This one won't do that. We honestly also like, I don't know if you guys can see it from over there, but there's some big like double D's on the bottom of this thing, and it keeps it really planted. Like a lot of power stations have rubber feet, but this specifically is not going anywhere. And it's just nice for like impact when you're wheeling it around, you kind of drop it down. You're not gonna break anything. There's a massive cushion right here. And speaking of the undercarriage of this guy, the wheels are also pretty good. There's some units like the Goal Zero, the Yeti 4000 that we just had, and those wheels are they're like rollerblade wheels. Yeah. They're very small, and when you drag it even just across your lawn, like you're ripping up the lawn because it's not up off the ground. These are really good. They're nice and, I don't want to say they're soft, but they're not going to do damage to your floor. And they're big enough that they can get you over some obstacles outside, across the grass. Like, it's not a problem that a lot of other power stations with wheels have. And the last two things about this are more about Jackery. One of them is that they have bifacial foldable panels now, which is really cool. If you take this camping, you can get a little bit more bang for your buck with a bifacial panel. And Jackery's website is one of the only ones where when you put your information in their calculator, it doesn't lie to you. It takes into account the idle consumption, the efficiency numbers, and it'll actually give you an accurate representation of how long a power station will last, which is cool if you're using their site for reference to make a purchase. You're not going to be let down when you get it. A lot of other companies overinflate all their specs and tell you it'll do way more than it will, and then it's disappointing when you get it home, and it doesn't. So good job for not lying all the time. Jackery. Now, when it comes to things that we just don't like about the Explorer 3000 Pro, the first one's going to be that this 30 amp plug right here isn't a true 30 amp plug because it's only a 3000 watt inverter. That means it's a 25 amp plug, which just means if you were to use this in your camper, you won't be able to use that camper to its full potential because this will be your limiting factor even though it gave you the plug. Kind of a buzzkill. The inverter is right there. It gets so close to 3600 watts. It would have been cool just to up it a little bit and make that a true 30 amp. It also does interfere with the plug directly underneath, which isn't the biggest deal. If you're using a 30 amp, you're probably not using all four of these anyways, but it's just something to know that this, when you have something plugged into the 30 amp, it does go straight down over top of one of your house plugs. Also, Jackery, where's the light? You got lights on all your small units. You're one of the only people putting lights on a power station. If you haven't run into a situation where you wish you had a We also don't like that Jackery kind of picks and chooses which units are expandable. Having something like this with wheels and the suitcase handle, it'd be sick if it was expandable because it's a great platform to build on. They don't make it expandable. I don't actually know if they have an expandable 3000 version at all. It's just weird stuff like that. They have expansion batteries for all their units. It'd be cool if you could put one on this. A tiny extra thing that we didn't really like, the flap on the 12 volt socket and the flap on the back. They do a great job of protecting, but they're extremely hard to get into. Like, you need to pry them open, which is just gonna lead to damage on the unit or broken fingernails or whatever. Like, they don't have to be bulletproof. They're just supposed to keep the dust out. They do a good job, but they're frustrating. And finally, the last and first thing that we talked about is that this is still a lithium ion battery. Now, Jackery, I think, honestly, truthfully, inflated how many cycles this battery is good for because we've already made a whole video on this breaking it down if you just wanna go watch that. But every other power station that Jackery still sells that has a lithium ion battery is rated for like 500 cycles till 80%, 800 cycles till 80%. This one says 2000 cycles till 70% or something, but they don't advertise that information clearly to you. And something like the HomePower has Life PO4 batteries, which are like 5,000 or 6,000 cycles to 80%. Point being, if you're actually gonna use this a lot, not everyone does, but if you're gonna use it a lot, you're gonna actually wear out the battery in this 10 times faster than you would wear out the battery in the new one, and they don't really have a price difference between the two. They're the same price, they're treating them like they're equal goods, and in our opinion, they're not, and this more dated chemistry should kind of be cheaper because it's not gonna last you as long. So it's just a weird thing that Jackery does. We don't love it. I would love if they just figured it out. I mean, if you go to the HomePower, you lose the wheels and the suitcase handle, but you get a bigger inverter with a little tiny bit of a bigger battery and the new chemistry, so it'll just last way longer. The choice is yours, but we're just here to give you guys information. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to get something for the portability aspect of it, this is a great unit. And if you're gonna use it a couple times a year, it's gonna calendar cycle before you actually use the battery cycles anyway. So this is still a good competitive unit. It performed really well. It was a great power station to have. But if you're trying to get the best bang for your buck and you're okay with losing the wheels and the handle, the new HomePower 3000 has a little bit of a bigger inverter. You got a true 30 amp plug on it, and you get the more modern battery chemistry. So in our opinion, them being the same price, that one is your better buy. But I wouldn't disagree if you said, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna use it 3 times a year and it's gonna be perfect for me. That's great. But that's pretty much all we got for you guys today. Let us know what you guys think about Jackery and this whole battery chemistry bonanza. Make sure you guys check out the links down below if you want to enter this month's giveaway. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.